welcome you for the OLA 16 class today, and we are talking about one of the Upavedas of Rigveda, which is Ayurveda. So let me start with a small prayer to Dhanvantari, who is supposedly the propounder of the entire Ayurveda. Om Shankham Chakram Jalaukam Dadhad Amrita Ghatam Charu Dorvish Chaturbhihi Sukshma Swachhati Hridyanshuka Parivilasan Maulimambhojanetram Kalam Bhodojvalangam Katitata Vilasat Charu Pitambaradhyam Vande Dhanvantarimtam Nikhila Gada Vanapraudhada Vagnilelam. Let me explain this verse to you. See, this is a stuti of Dhanvantari, and Dhanvantari is praised. He is a Vishnu's incarnation, okay? He has 4 hands. He is having Shankha in his left hand, Chakra in his right hand. The other left hand has the Amrita Ghata, the Amrita Kalasha, and in the right hand, the other right hand, he is having Jalauka, that is a leech. Zalu in Marathi, Jalauka, okay? Jalauka. And then he is having a white silken cloth, a transparent cloth around his head, and he is adorned with the Katitata Vilasacharu Pitambaradhyam. And how is he? He is like a Davanala. He is like a wildfire who, ruins and destroys the very dense forest. Now what does Dhanvantari destroy? He destroys the forest in the form of various diseases. So that is what Dhanvantari is, and we are going to have Ayurveda today. So this is Ayurveda, one of the 4 Upavedas. There are 4 Vedas and there are 4 Upavedas. So Ayurveda is for the Rigveda, Dhanurveda is for the Yajurveda, Gandharva Veda, Sangeeta Veda or Natya Veda for the Samaveda, and Sthapatya Veda or Arthashastra for Atharva Veda. So these are the 4 Upavedas. Now this is the image which you see on your left. That is the image of Dhanvantari, and the shloka which I recited, you can tally it with the description, the lanchanas, the 4 hands, and he is holding the 4 things. Now this Ayurveda has come down from Brahma to Daksha to Ashwini Kumara, then to Indra, and from Indra it has come to Dhanvantari. Then there is Agastya Rishi, Agastya Samhita, then Sushruta Samhita, who is known for surgery, the first surgeon of the world. And there is another branch, it comes to Atreya, then Agnivesha, the guru of Charaka, and then Charaka, it is pure medicine. We can say it is a physiology, and that is the surgery, okay? And then there is a 3rd branch, which is Bhrugu and Kashyapa, which deals with pediatrics, Kaumara Bhritya, okay? And what is the entire Ayurveda meant for, There is a nice verse here. In fact, there is a Vaidyakiya Subhashita Sangraha, okay? Like we have Subhashita Ratna Bhandagara, we have another Subhashita Sangraha, which is dedicated only to the Ayurveda and Vaidyakiya. That is the diseases, the ailments, regarding the doctors, all that. So in that Subhashita Sangraha, I got this Subhashita, Hita Hitam Sukham Dukkham Ayuhu. Ayuhu is the lifespan of a person. How it is? It is either Hita or Ahita. Ayu is spent doing good things or improper things. It is either Sukha or Dukkha, happy or miserable. So Hita Hitam Sukham Dukkham Ayuhu. Okay? Tasya Hita Hitam Manam Cha Yatra Uchyate Sa Ayurvedaha. So of that particular 4-fold lifespans we are discussing. Hita, Ahita, Sukha and Dukkha. Of all these 4-fold lifespans of a human being, what is good and what is bad for him, that is discussed in a particular treatise, okay? And Manam, that is the lifespan, the length, and the what you can say, the length and breadth, and the intimacy of the quality of the life, not only the number but the quality of life, Manam, that is measured in one treatise, and that is called Ayurveda. So Ayurveda is not just treating the ailments or treating the diseases. It looks into the quality of life which a person leads. So what is Ayurveda? Why Ayurveda, and how Ayurveda can be studied, can be put into practice by us. So what is Ayurveda? Basically, as we saw all the Vedas, Richam Vedaha, Rigvedaha, Yajusham Vedaha, Yajurvedaha. So Ayushaha Vedaha, Ayurvedaha. This is the Veda. Veda means what? Repository of knowledge. From Vida, to know, right? So this is a repository of knowledge regarding what? Ayush, regarding the lifespan of human being. Here we are treating human beings. In the last slide I will be referring to some other Ayurvedas which deal with, the treatments and the diseases and the lifespan and everything of the birds, of the animals, of the trees, everything. So Ayushaha Vedaha. Why one should study Ayurveda? What is the objective? What is the purpose of Ayurveda? Ayurveda has twofold objective. It is preventive as well as curative. And preventive is swasthasya, swasthya rakshanam or swasthya vardhanam, one who is hale and hearty, one who is healthy. So protecting his health, preserving his health. Swasthya Rakshanam and Swasthya Vardhanam, that is one objective, okay. Maintain him in his that status quo of good health. And another is curing the diseases or ailments, which is Aturasya Roga Prashamanam or Vikara Prashamanam. So these are the two objectives of Ayurveda. And how we can do this Ayurveda? How this Ayurveda can be implemented? By medicines. How many types of medicines are there? There are 3 types basically. There in Charaka Samhita, Charakacharya has given herbal medicines, almost 241 herbs he has prescribed. Then from animal, different parts and different extracts of the animal which are used in some medicines, they are 177, and minerals, they are almost 64. So Dhatuja, like we have Suvarna Bhasma, Rajata Bhasma and all, So there are different types of medicines which are prescribed by Charakacharya. And medicines are used as external application as well as internal application. Internal application is either you chew some root, some bark of a tree, okay, or you eat it, whole thing, you eat it, you drink sometimes the kashaya made up of the herbs, you boil it in the water, and you drink it and swallow something like a gutika, like a pill, you have to swallow. So these are the different ways of medicines, the treatment of medicine. So now internal use of this like drinking and swallowing and eating and chewing, there are so many varieties, We have got Kvatha or Kashaya, which are like the decoctions, the concentrated decoctions. Sometimes they are fermented, sometimes they are extracted from some herbs, mixed with some other herbs. It is like Aushadham Dravya Sanyogaha, joining 2-3 medicines together and making a syrup, a decoction out of it, Kvatha, Kashaya. Then Churana, some powders, you dry the herbs and pound them in mortar and pestle, and it becomes a powdered thing. Or Taila, even for applying to your hair, in Atharva Veda in fact we have like what we use, Maka and Bhringaraja now, for hair growth and black hair and treatment of split hair and all that. So that comes in Atharva Veda basically, there is a Sukta. So Tailam done by that. Then there are so many Ayurveda Grita, the Grita done with the bhavana of some medicines. So Grita, that is there. Asava Arishtani, they are like Kvatha and Kashaya. Asava is basically a fermented thing, like Draksha Asava, And then there are some bhasmas, some ashes, minerals especially you burn them, and the bhasma, the ash, is also used as medicine. Then lavanadi ksharaha, lavana, saindhava lavana for example. So such kshara they are used. Avaleha are something to lick. So you make a paste of something and you mix it with either grita or madhu, and you make a paste and just lick it. So that becomes avaleha. Vati and gutika, these are the pills, okay, the tablets. And pralepa or dhupa. Lepa is ointment, you anoint your body with certain medicinal things like karpura yukta taila, that removes your itching sensation and all that. So pralepa is there, or dhupa, you just burn something, and that smoke also that removes so many illnesses. So these are the various things which are aturasya vikara prashamanam. Now in the Ayurveda we have aushadha and bheshaja. Two words are used. Now what is the difference? Do they mean one and the same, or is there any difference? And then we come to know that aushadha is dravya sanyoga. It is more or less the medicinal herbs put together and a combination of herbs being served. Okay? And for that, there is a subhashita, amantram aksharam nasti, nasti moolam anaushadham. So there is not a single root of a tree which does not have any medicinal value as such. So nasti moolam anaushadham. Then, so that is as far as aushadha is concerned. Another word which is used is bheshaja, and interestingly enough, Atharva Veda is termed as Bhaishajya Veda or Subheshaja. Now traditionally, though, Ayurveda is considered to be the Upaveda of Rigveda, I feel sometimes, Ayurveda has more in comparison to Atharva Veda than to the Rigveda. There are hundreds of verses in Atharva Veda which really have impacted and influenced Ayurveda like anything. Now Bheshaja is along with the Dravya Sanyoga, there is something added to that. So there is maybe some ritual, some Vaidya, he tells you to fast on a particular day and eat at a particular time, avoid Pradosha Sevana, something like that. So some ritual would be there. Sometimes something amulet tying will be there. Some austerity, some vratas would be there. So Bheshaja is Vidhi, Tapa, Vratadi. So there is some Vidhi, some ritual, then Tapa, Vrata, etc. So it is, Bheshaja is the material herbal medicine plus something else, and that something is divine. That something is supernatural element. Okay? So the natural medicine plus supernatural blessing, both are included in the word Bheshaja. And Aushadha is basically of herbs, use of seeds, roots, bark of a tree, the leaves of a tree, flowers of a tree, fruits, and even the seeds. Everything comes into use. And external use, when you come across the external use, it is basically the medicinal bath. For example, after the jaundice or some such epidemics, some such diseases, we give bath in, the neem we boil, the neem leaves you boil in the water, and that water, that green water, with that the child is given bath, So there is snana, then there is aushadha sevana, there is lepana and manidharana, tying something around your wrist, around your arm, in your neck, around your vest. So there are so many places where money is, worn. So these are the external uses of Ayurveda. Now swasthasya swasthya rakshanam, when we say swasthasya swasthya rakshanam, it is basically there are many such herbs. I will be talking about only 3-4 here. The first and the foremost would be amalaki, that I will take in the next slide because that requires more attention. Here I have clubbed 3 medicines together. One is aloe vera. These days aloe vera has become like a key word in cosmetology. in cosmetics, right? So Saundarya Prasadhana. Why? Because aloe vera, which is known as Kumari, the very name of aloe vera is Kumari, that never ages you, that keeps you ever young, because your skin gets the glow, renders glow to the skin and checks old age, and therefore aloe vera is called Kumari. So Kumari Asava is there, you know, Kumari Asava, Kumari Arishta, Ghrita Kumari. So all these things are there in Kumari. Then turmeric, the very usual ingredient which is used in every Indian kitchen, in Indian household, and that is why it makes, you know, a neglected hero, you know, and turmeric, Haridra. But it is antiseptic medicine, and kitchen is the thing where you get burnt or get wounded by knife while cutting vegetables and fruits and all that. First thing which helps to the health is the Haridra, the turmeric. A pinch of turmeric you put in on your wound and it prevents from the bacterial inception, okay. And it is immunity booster as well. Nowadays in US also you get that, what is that, turmeric latte. Turmeric latte, what is that? जो हम हल्दी मिला के दूध पीते हैं ना, haldi mixed with दूध, haldi mixed with milk, and latte is basically the froth. झाग आता है ना ऊपर, so उसको 4 बार ऐसा वैसा करो तो झाग आ जाएगा, and that they sell as latte, okay. So that is turmeric latte. And then there is nimba, which is neem. Neem is used in various things, again in the soaps, in the oils, various things it is used. It is basically germicide. It is used as a pesticide by the horticulturist, by the agriculturist, you know. So nimba is also of various uses. Then we have amalaki, which is avla, amla in Hindi. English doesn't have any word, so any small fruit it calls berry, and therefore it becomes a Indian gooseberry, okay. So it is Indian gooseberry, but the names in Sanskrit, especially in Ayurveda, one is Amrita and the other is Dhatri. Amalaki is as good as a mother, she nourishes you. Dharana Poshanat, Dhatri. And Amrita, because she gives you immortality, that means long healthy life. Basically, medically, it's a rich source of vitamin C, 3000 milligram per fruit, that's what I got from Google Swami. Then Amla is basically used in the health benefits, both as preventive as well as curative drug. Fresh fruit is diuretic and laxative, Mutrala. In Ayurveda, it will be called Mutrala, okay. And then green fruit is exceedingly nutritive, tonic and rejuvenating, and therefore Chavanprash, which is again, and now in this COVID pandemic, everybody is after Chavanprash. Chavanprash 90% is Amalaka. Chavanprash is nothing else. Once upon a time, I had made Chavanprash in my home by bringing Amalaka, fresh Amalakas from the market. Okay, so it increases red blood cell count as well. So it helps in wonderfully in many ways. Now Ayurveda, we call it as a holistic therapy. What is the difference between allopathy, homeopathy, Ayurveda? These are all various paths, that is path, panthaha, from the Sanskrit word, panthaha, panthanaha. So they are various paths and therefore pathy, okay. So body, mind and soul, all these 3 things are treated by Ayurveda. How? So we take 2 things like yoga and Ayurveda. Yoga, we can say, is a spiritual aspect of Ayurveda, whereas Ayurveda is the therapeutic aspect of yoga. So they are complementary to each other. Now today's illnesses, the doctors say, my sister is a doctor, most of the illnesses are psychosomatic, manokayika rogaha. So mana and kaya, that is body, psychosomatic illnesses caused by loneliness, anxiety, stress, anger, especially in these isolated situations, people feel frustrated, and left out. They are all alone. They suffer from such illnesses. Strain, they all strain the heart. The dietary systems also they strain. Nervous system gets weakened and whole physical health crashes. And therefore Ayurveda is not just curative. It doesn't only treat on the illness, it goes to the root of the illness and tries to cure it permanently. Eradicate, samoola uchcheda or uchchatana. Okay? So our lifestyle breeds unhappiness. We run from one stimulation to another, have little to nourish our soul. Ayurveda tells us about all these things. You take any of the Ayurveda treatises, either Charaka, Sushruta, Ashtanga-hridaya, Madhava-nidana, Bhela Samhita, there are so many, Bhava Prakasha, Kayyadeva Nigantu and all that. Every Ayurvedic text, especially the Samhita literature, Samhita text, they start with the cosmology, how the world came into existence, how our body came into existence. So unless we know all that, we can't treat our body. So they are in close connection with the nature. There is, in Ayurveda, a very well established micro-macro cosmic relation. We are microcosm, Pinda. Everywhere else around us, it is macrocosm, that is Brahmanda, and there is Pinda, Brahmandavada. We are related, and if we treat ourselves, in that sense, then we can't do any harm to the nature around us, because we are in sync. Okay? So that is how Ayurveda becomes a holistic therapy. Again, the structure of Ayurveda is based on the structural constituents of a human body, and they are identified as 7. There are 7 constituent structures. They are like the pillars on which this body, human body, rests. They are called Sapta Dhatu. Dhatuhu Kasmat Dharanat, because they bear the load and everything the body encounters. Okay? So they are Rasa, that is liquid, Plasma, Rakta, which is blood, Mamsa, that is flesh. There is a picture also, Google Swami. Then Meda, which is fat, Asthi are bones, Majja are nerves, and Retas or Shukra is semen, because for the next production, reproduction, we require that also. So these are like the 7 pillars of human body as such, and therefore when Ayurveda treats it, any ailment, any disease, it takes into account what is the matra of Shukra, what is the matra of Rakta, how much fat the person is. It's not one antibiotic, prescribed for a child and an 80-year-old, for a lady and a gentleman, one who is fat and one who is thin. It's not the same across all the people, because it is a treatment to treat these pillars so that they sustain your body healthy, in a healthy manner. Then we have the Triguna and the Tridosha concept. After we have the Saptadhatu, there is Triguna and Tridosha concept. Triguna is in the cosmos, because normally the Charaka Samhita and this Samhita text I told you, they start with cosmology, I was saying, and cosmology is based on Sankhya philosophy. And therefore Sankhyas believe in Triguna, they also believe in Triguna. So every padartha, every object in the world is made up of these 3 gunas, Sattva, Rajas and Tamas. That is in the macrocosm, in the Brahmanda, and in the Pinda, it is Vata, Pitta and Kapha. The 3 doshas they call. Doshas are translated as humor. I find it is humorous. Dosha can't be translated. Dosha can't be translated. Dosha is dushyati or dushyati iti dosha. Our sharira, our body gets spoiled. Our body gets, damaged because of something, and that is called dosha. So that word meaning is not captured in the word humor. So any imbalance in these 3 doshas, like the trigunas, sattva, rajas, tama, if they are in equilibrium, nothing happens. It is the pralaya avastha. The moment they start up and down, there is taratamya, tara and tama, one superior, one inferior, then the srishti starts, then the world starts. So imbalance gives rise to something. Same here. If the three doshas are balanced, 33.33 raised to infinity, 100, how would you divide in 3? 33.33 raised to infinity, right? So when the three doshas are in balance, nothing happens. A person is as healthy as he was. Okay? He will remain healthy forever when there is no imbalance in the dosha. The moment the dosha start, dwindling, if there is sort of imbalance, the equilibrium gets vanished and then the diseases emerge. So we need harmony with the nature, microcosm I told you. Now these three natural phenomena affect us in Kapha, Vata, Pitta. They are basically three natural phenomena. But we are talking of Pancha Mahabhutas. Then how would you combine Pancha Mahabhuta with the three? So the next slide will give you how the Pancha Mahabhutas can be combined with the three doshas. Basically, Kapha is caused by the water imbalance in the body, Kapha Prakriti. Pitta imbalance is the fire, the gastric fire. Basically, when we talk of Agni in Ayurveda, it is not the Yajniya Agni, it is the Vaishvanara. Okay? So that is the gastric fire. So when if it is a Kapha Prakriti or Kapha Prakopa, the Chikitsa is by honey, Madhuna Chikitsa. When there is a Pitta Prakopa, the Chikitsa would be by ghee, by Ghrita. And when there is Vata Prakopa, it is by Taila. Because Vata is Ruksha Guna, Vayu. It is Ruksha. And what would treat him? Snehana, naturally, right? And therefore oil would treat it. So, and the Vata Prakriti people are as fickle as the wind itself. They are always moving, they are not stable on their decisions and all. Pitta Prakriti people are as fiery as the fire. And normally they are very thin, but they are very lustrous, very clever, intelligent. They are like Agnirvai Manavakaha. We say, this Manavaka, this is not a Manavaka. This is as good as a fire. So, these are the combinations and these are the metaphors used for that. And the next slide will give you how the Pancha Mahabhutas are combined in the three doshas. Vayu dosha, for example, the picture which you see to your right hand, there is Vata dosha, which comprises of Vata and Akasha, Vayu and Akasha, the Paroksha Mahabhutas. Okay? Then Pitta, it comprises of fire as well as some water element is there. And in Kapha, it is water plus earth element. So water is a combining factor for Vata, for Kapha and Pitta. Okay? So this is how the Pancha Mahabhutas get merged into the three doshas. Now this caused by imbalance causes the diseases, etc. we saw. Now the three causes for imbalance. Why the imbalance is caused? How the imbalance is caused? Why there is Pitta Prakopa? Why suddenly there is Vata Prakopa and Kapha Prakopa and all that? For that there are three reasons given by, why I told you Ayurveda goes to the very root of the cause. Okay? So the cause of the disease, you are not treating the disease, you are treating the cause. Okay? And setting it good. So there are some deliberate errors because of which there is imbalance. In spite of knowing evil effects of fast food, we can't resist it. We want pizzas and pastas, right? And therefore, you have to suffer. If you want soft drinks with us, with that, we want chips, fried chips with that. So you have to suffer for that. So there is a deliberate error. And we all know the evil effects of that. Fast food is not good for health. How many people who are smoking regularly, aren't they aware that smoking is hazardous to health? Still they do it. It is deliberate error. We can't help them. Okay? Then there are non-compatibility issues. which has a very nice word in Ayurveda called asatmya. Satmya. Atma is our own self, our own body. Sa Atmya. You be with your own self. Asatmya, you are not with your body. You are not with your own self. That means something you eat doesn't suit your body. You are eating, you are drinking something because you go to a party and then friends, they insist, oh, you must have something like this, you eat this. But if your body doesn't accept it, asatmya, you shouldn't eat it, howsoever they insist. So that is the asatmya vritti. Suppose a person, he doesn't like the mushroom or the soya, example, I am just giving an example. Now the person his body doesn't accept it. So just because there is no other go, if he eats that, he will have to suffer because his body doesn't accept it. His body will throw it out in one way or the other. So there is asatmya. And there is irregularity, that is also a deliberate error, I write, that causes the imbalance. Like late night work, you go to party, watch a movie and come home at 11 o'clock and 12 o'clock and have your dinner when it's midnight. That's going to cause some trouble to your Vaishwanara, your gastric fire, right? And so irregularity, late night working, age factor also, according to the age, you must reduce the quantity and quality of food which you are eating. I used to eat like 3 chapatis when I was young. I can't eat 3 chapatis now, I should not, right? So age also is the matter. So there are so many things, and Ayurveda emphasizes dinacharya and ritucharya. I am referring only in brief here dinacharya and ritucharya. This is such a vast topic. All Ayurvedic doctors require many hours to teach one section of dinacharya and ritucharya. In this ritu you should do this, in this ritu you should not do this. So there are taboos, the pros and the cons and the do's and the don'ts in every ritu according to your own body temperature and your alignment with nature, the desha, kala, vyakti, so many relativity items are there, so many issues are there. For example, the Grishma Ritu or the Vasanta Ritu, rather Vasanta Ritu, we just done away with Vasanta Ritu and we have entered Varsha. In Kerala, monsoon is officially declared, right, from 1st of June. So now Varsha Ritu has started. But till now, 4 days back, we were in Vasanta Ritu, Grishma Ritu, and that is the Adana Kala. It takes away all our energy, it takes away all our fluids, all our rasa. It is Adana Kala. So we have to change our diet accordingly, So every Ritu has its own demands. So Dinacharya and Ritucharya, that's a very important topic of Ayurveda. Now when we come to the therapeutics, that is the treatment of diseases. Therapeutics is the treatment of the diseases. Now there are Shodhana and Shamana, these are the 2 basic varieties, Shodhana and Shamana. Shodhana is to purify your body, and that is done in 5 ways, and that is the typical Keraliya Panchakarma, okay, for which Kerala is famous. I mean, there is a lot of scope for health tourism or Ayurveda tourism in the state of Kerala, because in every household, like the people are trained in how to do massage and this and that, okay. And Kerala being such a green Rajya, green state, so many herbs are found here. Arya Vaidyashala, then Kotakal Shala and this Shala, so many Vaidyashalas are here, okay. So there are 5 ways in which Shodhana Karya, purification of your systems, not only the ailment, your system has to get purified. So it is Vamana, that is vomiting, Virechana, that is purgation, Basti is enema, Nasya is nasal drops, and Rakta Mokshana, that is dialysis by leech. Jalauka. Remember the first verse I recited for Dhanvantari and the picture I showed? In the picture in the right hand, he is holding, Dhanvantari is holding a Jalauka, that is a leech. So Rakta Mokshana, dialysis by leech. So these are the 5 ways of the Shodhana. Then we come to Shamana. Shamana is palliation, pacifying. Shama. Okay? Shama Shantavane. Okay? So Shanta Karna. And it has some 7 types in which pacification or palliation could be done. It is Langhana. First and foremost is Langhana. You go to any Ayurvedic doctor, when your stomach is upset, he would say, do Langhana. One day you don't eat anything, you will be cured. No need of medicine. Why do you need medicine? Langhana. Langhana is not eating anything, fasting. And because the digestive system also needs some rest, you are overloading it. After every 2-3 hours, we are eating something or the other, drinking something or the other. Constantly our intestines, our stomachs, every organ is constantly working 24/7 till we live, till we die. So they also need some rest. So don't let them do overtime. So give them rest, and therefore our Ayurvedic acharyas, they prescribe 1 day Langhana at least in a month, if not in a week. Okay. So fasting is not like I am fasting but I am eating this and I am eating that. That is not fasting. That is the change of taste, change of diet. The way we are fasting is we are just changing our diet. Instead of chapati, we are eating potato sabji. That's it. Right? So Langhana. Then Nigraha, control. Our tongue is the most, 3 inches organ, the smallest organ in our body. But it works wonders in 2 ways. It can ruin us. It can gain us many accolades. Tongue we use in 2 ways. How? One is tasting. I have something very good food in front of me. Yesterday I had the mulaga bhaji, okay, the mirchi bhaji with khichdi. I loved it. And I took the 3rd one, that was greed. I was done with my khichdi. I had done with my, this is personal experience, So if we don't have that control, then you have to face it. Tears started flowing because mirchi lagi. Kya karu? Okay. So this is what we need. Teaching and telling somebody, advising somebody is very easy. Practicing is very difficult, right? But Nigraha, that is one thing which our Jivha, Laulya can be controlled in that way. Another way in which Jivha or this Rasana can work is speaking. You speak harsh words and you lose your friends. You speak sweet words, you gain many more. So Rasana works wonders in these 2 ways. So Nigraha has to be there for Rasana. Then Vyayama, exercise. You do your daily things, but you don't exercise, work out in today's language, workout. You don't need to go to a gym for workout. You do the regular asanas, pranayama, the thing, and you are done with that. Going out in the open, it is there, I think, Marutsevana, yeah, walk in the open air, that is also an exercise. Marutsevana, that is an exercise. Atapasevana, in the warm sunlight, you walk around in the warm sunlight, that is also exercise. And it is said that Ayushaha kshana ekopi sarvaratnairna labhyate. Even a moment of your life can't be earned back which you have spent. The moment I spent now, just 2 minutes back, I can't earn it howsoever money I offer. Nobody can return me. Guzra hua zamana, something like that. Okay? Ayushaha kshane ekopi sarvaratnairna labhyate. And niyate sa pramadena, niyate sa vrithayena, one who has spent it carelessly, recklessly, pramado sumahanaho. What a great blunder he is doing. He doesn't know what he is doing because that moment can't be earned back, can't be bought back with any amount of wealth you may be able to spend on it. Okay? So, Ayushaha kshane ekopi. And another thing is, if we fall sick, by money, we can buy bheshaja, we can buy aushadha, but not health. Aushadha is to cure. Aushadha is not restoring you to your own healthy body stature. For that, Vyayama is a must. Okay? So, stretching out, ayama, that is the stretching out things, that is a must. Then Atapa Sevana is sunbath. Then Marut Sevana is walking in the open air. Deepana Pachana. Deepana Pachana, again very important thing, Unless the earlier food which you have had, unless it is digested fully, we should not eat another portion of food. That is as simple as that. First you digest whatever you have eaten in the morning, and then after 4 hours, 6 hours only. It's not after every 1 or 2 hours you chew something or you eat something, That's not going to help, because the food gets undigested. That turns into ama. The acid, and that is more dangerous. Okay? So, apakva ama. Then Deepana, eat only when the Agni is our gastric fire, Vaishwanar Agni, that demands food, and when you feel hungry, then only you should eat, and not because somebody is forcing you to eat, you should not eat that thing. Then Pachana, don't overload gastric fire, eat when food is digested. So Deepana Pachana, Agni should be Deepta, and therefore the people, Ayurvedic doctor, they treat your Agni. If your Agni is Manda, they will give you certain medicine which will enkindle that fire so that you feel hungry. On the other hand, if your Agni is very Tivra, they will try to subdue it, right? So Agni should be Madhyama. So Deepana Pachana, they are very important. Then Mani Dharana. I was telling you, in the external type of medication, there is like Aushadha, Snana, Lepana, etc. And there is one interesting topic as Mani Dharana. Now what is Mani Dharana as such? Mani is basically any object which is worn on your body. I was telling you it can be worn on the wrist, and therefore wrist is called as Mani Bandha in Sanskrit. Why? Manihi Badhyate Atra iti Mani Bandha. Otherwise it is worn in the neck, on the arm, on the vest, on the foot, anywhere on the body. It should touch your body. Now this mani could be made up of some medicinal herbs. It could be made up of some animal thing, like we have the story of Shivaji Maharaj killing Afzal Khan with Vagnakha. Vagnakha, the nails of a tiger, which he was wearing in a chain, right? So Vagnakha, that is also money. You wear it, and that is also money. Sometimes you have the hair of a boar, especially when small kids, infants and all, they always fall sick. Jo darveshi aata hai na, so you get some hair from the boar and tie it in a chain around the neck of a child. That's a superstition maybe, but this is a type of a money. Okay, so money are various types. I think when I took Atharva Veda portion, I briefly dealt with one Abhivarta Mani there, or Trivrit Mani, I don't remember. There was Abhivarta Mani and Trivrit Mani I referred to. So basically money is doing twofold things. One is it gives you protection. It gives you peace of mind. It is called Raksha Kavacha or Raksha Karandaka. Kavacha, as if an armor. You are wearing an armor, and therefore the enemy's arrows or the sword won't affect you. Okay, they won't hurt you. So money is like an armor, it protects you. So this, when you wear in the neck and all, it is a protective measure. Another thing is, it removes the ailment, weakness or an evil eye. Evil eye. Because these are, Mani Dharana, etc. things come in Atharva Veda to a large extent, very large extent. Rigveda we don't find money at all. I mean, there are few Oshadha Suktaha, Oshadhayaha iti in the 10th mandala. But in Atharva Veda we have plenty of monies, both animal also and herbal also. The types are herbal, animal, mineral and artificial. Like there is a Trivrit Mani I was telling you. What is Trivrit Mani? 3 rings of gold, silver and copper. 3 small rings are made, and these 9 rings are tied as a pendant in a chain or as a bracelet. The 9 rings form a bracelet of a king, so that he becomes invincible. Nobody can defeat him in the battle. So Trivrut Mani, this is like Mani, this is in silver. Especially the Lingayat community in Karnataka, I have seen them very closely. Lingayat community in Karnataka, they have this, this is a small manjusha, small box like thing, and inside there is a lingam. Inside there is a lingam, and they have it, always on their person, on their body, and Shiva protects them. So that is the feeling, okay. So it's more of an emotional than of psychological bonding, rather than a medicative effect of, medicinal effect of the thing. Then Ayurveda Granthas, there are so many Ayurveda Granthas. As in the Vyakarana, we have the Munitraya, like Panini, Katyayana and Patanjali, Mahabhashyakara. Similarly, in the Ayurveda, we have Munitraya, and their Granthas are called Brihatrayi. They are Charaka Samhita, Sushruta Samhita, and Ashtanga Sangraha, Ashtanga Hridaya, and Ashtanga Hridaya by Vagbhata. Vagbhatiya, Ashtanga Hridaya. So these three are the great Granthas. Apart from that, till 16th century, I think 17th century, the works are getting upgraded. Okay. In the 700 AD, we have Madhava Nidana. Then in Sharangadhara Samhita in 1300, and Bhava Prakasha in 1600, Bhava Prakasha Nighantu. There is one Kayya Deva Nighantu. So many Nighantus. Nighantus are glossaries, the dictionaries. Okay. The list of so many medicinal herbs. So, and then there is Kashyapa Samhita, which is Kaumara Bhritya. I think I referred to it in the earlier slide. So that is Kaumara Bhritya, Kashyapa Samhita. Now some Ayurvedic Subhashitas. At the close of this lecture, I will deal with some Ayurveda Subhashitas. Very nice Subhashitas. There are more than 1,000 Subhashitas in the Vaidyakiya Subhashita Sangraha. You please go and see that, and Balamarogyam-ayushcha pranaschagno pratisthitaha annapanendhanaishchagnihi jvalati vyeti cha anyatha. This is from Charaka, not from Vaidyakiya Subhashita Sangraha. I am sorry, this is taken from Charaka Samhita and Sushruta Samhita, the basic Samhita text. So Balam, the strength, Arogya, health, Ayuhu, longevity, long life, Pranaha, your vital breath, all these are stationed, established in your Prano, Agno, your gastric fire, Agno pratisthitaha, and therefore Annapana Indhanaihi. When you do Anna Grahana and you do Pana, when you eat and when you drink, that is as good as having enkindling elements, adding fagots to the fire, so that the fire will be enkindled. So, Annapanendhanaihi Agnihi Jvalati. So, Agni Jvalati, it gets enkindled by consistently, not consistently, by Anna and Pana, and Veticha Anyatha, and otherwise it diminishes. So, Agni has to be kept moderately enkindled so that your health remains constantly good. That is Charaka. Sushruta keeps it in very good manner. Here Sushruta says, Samadoshaha. There should not be any imbalance in the Tridosha. Samadoshaha. All should be in equilibrium. Okay. Samadoshaha. Sama Agnishcha. Agni should not be either Tivra or Manda. It should be Madhyama. Sama Agnishcha. Samadhatu. The dhatu, the sapta dhatus we saw, right? All should be in equilibrium. Okay, Samadhatu, and Sama Malakriyaha. The purgation, the Malakriya should also affect our health, and therefore all our body systems, they should be very, kept very well, very organized. Samadhatu Malakriyaha, and Prasanna Atma Indriya Manaha. One who is Atma, one who is soul. Mana is mind, and Indriya, all the organs, are prasanna, are happy, are pleased. Swasthaha iti abhidhiyate. He is called as Swastha, and not anybody else. So who is swastha? Swasmin sthiyate anena iti swastha, or swasmin tishtati asau swastha. One who is with his own self. And therefore when we say Ayurveda's one objective is swasthasya swasthya vardhanam or swasthya rakshanam. So what is swastha? Swastha is one who is happy. Happy not because he has bungalow and fridge and car and this and that, because his health is good. We see so many rich people and they have so many luxuries in their houses, in their palatial building houses, but they can't eat, do waqt ki roti nahi chaba sakte because they can't digest it. They can't digest it. And look at the health of some people who are living in the shanties on the roadside, how happy they are. So that's why I am telling you that Ayurveda doesn't treat only the body, it treats the mind. And therefore body, mind and soul, prasanna, atma, indriya and mana, this is very important. Then only he can be called swastha. Now Ayurvedic doctors normally treat the people in such ways, okay? But there are so many sarcastic verses on the Ayurvedic doctors. Very many sarcastic. Upahasa garbha shlokaha santi, okay? One thing is, I think you perhaps know, Vaidyaraja namastubhyam Yamaraja sahodara. Oh Vaidyaraja, I bow down to you because you are the real brother of Yamaraja. But there is one difference. What is that? Yamastu harati pranan. Yama takes away only our life. Vaidyaha pranan dhananicha. Vaidya takes away our life as well as our wealth, our money. So that is one sarcastic shloka. I don't call it Subhashita, it's a shloka, sarcasm on the Vaidyas. Here is one more. Vaidyanam Sharadi Mata. Vaidyanam Mata ka Sharadi. Sharadi Sharad Ritu. Sharad Ritu is the mother, because Sharadivai Bhuyishtham Hanti. When we saw the Rigvedic Rudra and Puranic Shiva, and in that lecture I think Ola, whatever it was, Ola 10 or 14 or whatever it was, I had dealt with this. Sharadivai Bhuyishtham Hanti. Rudra kills profusely in Sharad Ritu. And therefore for Vaidyas, for doctors, it is money making Ritu. Vaidyanam Sharadi Mata. Pitacha Kusumakaraha. Kusumakara Vasanta Ritu. Again, I don't know, perhaps Ritu Nam Kusumakaraha, there was one lecture, and that time I told, because everything, the surrounding is flooded with blossoming flowering trees, and therefore lots of pollen grains are there in the air, and therefore people get allergic to that, and therefore there are many, especially respiratory diseases, they increase in Kusumakara, that is Vasanta Ritu, that is spring season. So Pitacha Kusumakaraha, Yamadaunshtra Swasa Prokta, who is the sister of Vaidyas. She is Yamadaunshtra. Yama's Daunshtra, that is his teeth, I mean, Yama is grabbing the people whom he wants to kill, as if, like a lion or a tiger pounces on the prey and daboch leta hai muh mein, Daunshtra. Okay. So Yama Daunshtra Swasa Prokta, Hitabhuk, Mitabhuk, Ripuhu. Then who is the enemy of Vaidya? That means one who doesn't have to go to Vaidya, go to doctor. Hitabhuk, Mitabhuk. One who eats what is good for him and one who eats in a limited quantity. Hita, Hitakaraka. Mita, limited. Hitabhuk, Mitabhuk is the Ripuhu of the doctors. From this, I was reminded of a verse. There is a verse, like there are certain birds, like especially the woodpecker bird, crick, 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 this sound it makes, okay, while digging at the bark of a tree, crick, crick, crick. So some Subhashitakara You know, he wrote a Subhashita on that. Koruk, 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 koruk. Who is koruk? Kaha aruk. Ruk, roga. Aruk, niroga. Who is niroga? Who is healthy? Who is healthy? Who is healthy? As if the bird is asking every time it, you know, pecks its beak. Huh? Koruk, koruk. And then the answer is given. Hitabhuk, mitabhuk, ashakabhuk, aruk. Hitabhuk, mitabhuk we already saw. Ashakabhuk. This is very interesting. One who doesn't eat vegetables, because vegetables breed bacteria and worms, and therefore sometimes I will take a class on Bhojana Kutuhala or something, you know, because in the Q&A I think I had referred to, why didn't you speak to this culinary art or cuisine, Indian cuisine in the 64 kalas, and I said it's not a kala, it's a shastra. So when I was going through some of these works, I found that Ayurveda doesn't advise eating vegetables. It's so contrary to our modern beliefs, right? We are telling our children who don't eat, Karela nahi khata hai, khao khao, sehat ke liye acha hai. It's good for your health. You should eat all vegetables, okay? But ashakabhuk, one who is hitabhuk, one who is mitabhuk, and one who is ashakabhuk, doesn't eat vegetables, he really is healthy, aruk, okay? And Charaka again says, dharmartha kama mokshanam arogyam moolam uttamam. Why do we have to keep our body so healthy and intact? Because we want to be happy, you know. So happiness and health are in sync, they are correlated. In fact, when I was in Harvard, I told you in September, in the Harvard University, the most popular courses is the course on happiness. Everybody seeks happiness, but the happiness can be sought by looking at our health. Healthy body is the most happy thing to have with us, not the wealth, but the health is the most valuable thing which makes a person happy. So, dharmartha kama mokshanam arogyam moolam uttamam. Charaka also says, dharma, artha, kama and moksha, these are the 4 goals of human life, chaturvidha purushartha. And what is the source of acquiring these 4? That is arogya. Your health is the only means. Otherwise, you can neither do dharma nor artha. Nothing you can do with ill health. Okay? So, dharmartha kama mokshanam. Sarvameva parityajya. Kautilya also, you know, he is such a pravritti margi acharya, Kautilya acharya. Sarvameva parityajya shariram anupalaye. You leave aside everything. And therefore, in the Rajacharya, you know, he has given how Raja should dedicate a specific period of day for his Vyayama. That is very, very important. Because he is a king, he should not while away his time in doing all the, you know, mischievous thing and other things. So he must do Vyayama. So, sarvameva parityajya shariram anupalayed, sharirasya pranashtasya sarvameva vinashyati. Once body is gone, what is the use of getting this and that and the other enemy country and so much treasure, and you know, that's of no use. So, take care of your own health. Kalidasa in Kumarasambhava says, Sharira madhyam khalu dharma sadhanam. Sharira is the first and the foremost device, the means, the instrument of doing dharma, practicing tapa. And therefore, this was told to Parvati, okay, Sharira madhyam khalu dharma sadhanam. So, this is the thing. Now, I just referred to that there are other like Ayurvedas also. We are referring to Manushyasya Krite Ayurveda, but there are other Ayurvedas, Vriksha Ayurveda for example, Surapala Virachita, Gaja Ayurveda or Hastya Ayurveda by Palakapya Muni. Then Ashwa Ayurveda, there are 2-3 things. One is Ashwa Chikitsa by Nakula, Pandavas, you know, one of the Pandavas, Nakula. Ashwa Vaidyakam by Jayadatta, Shalihotra Pranitam Ashwa Shastram. There is one text called Go Vijnanam, you know, for the kine, cattle. And Shainika Shastram. Shaina is a hawk. Shayana is a hawk. So Shainika Shastram, this is by Rudradeva. So that is also there. So many Ayurvedas. So our Sanskrit text writers, they have prescribed Ayurveda for everybody. It's not only the human body. I told you, nature and man, they are in sync. They have to coexist, not in conflict. Then only they can flourish. So that is the message, I think, given by this. And with this, I think I will stop with the usual prayer. Sarvetra sukhinas santu, sarve santu niramayaha, sarve bhadrani pashyantu, ma kaschid dukkha bhag bhaved. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. Dhanyavadaha.